Good day, everybody. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to show you what to look for if you're having issues with a P0171 and a P0174 system too lean. This is a problem that happens all too often. Now let's go through it and I'll show you what to look for. Now there's numerous reasons why this code can come up. We're going to talk about all the different areas, and the first one we're going to talk about is the mass airflow sensor, the MAF. Right there on the LS. So what the mass airflow sensor does is it measures the air coming in, sends that information to the PCM, and the PCM uses that information to calculate as close as possible air-fuel ratio of 14.7 to 1. Couple issues that could run to the lean code is unmetered air, of course. If air is getting past the MAF sensor, and then obviously the readings from the MAF sensor are not going to correspond to the actual air entering the system, which is going to trigger it to run lean. Now, of course, if your MAF sensor is dirty or corroded, that could lead to incorrect readings and make your system run lean. That is one thing you'd like to check out. And of course, one of the biggest issues that people normally encounter is vacuum leaks, unmetered air. I already talked about unmetered air, air getting in past the MAF sensor. But we also got to look at vacuum leaks. You got to look at things like intake gaskets. If air is getting in there, you're going to run lean. You got to look at leaks from the brake booster in general, from the vacuum line that runs. You got to check that for leaks. If you have a PVC line or vacuum line coming off the motor that is damaged, not working properly, that's going to let unmetered air in, cause your engine to run lean. You got to look at things like throttle body gaskets. That'll cause it. And another one, believe it or not, that'll cause the issue is if your oil dipstick has become unseated and then the air can get into the crankcase, and that could cause a lean condition, believe it or not. Now this is a good one that I kind of went over on my fuel pressure video, is if you're not getting enough fuel delivery to the motor. Now if you get this code, and it could be related to that, you got to look at the freeze frame data. You got to look at how much engine load it was under when this code or codes were triggered. This issue can be multiple things. Low fuel pressure. If it runs normal, if it's not under load, but runs lean while it's under load, you got to test fuel pressure while it's under load to verify that in fact something's wrong. Then you got to start looking at things like fuel pump. Maybe it's not putting out enough. Maybe there is a blockage or something. You got to look at fuel filter for the same reasons. Maybe there's a blockage. Maybe you have fuel leaks somewhere. Restrictions in the fuel lines. Maybe fuel lines kinked, maybe a fuel line's collapsed. And then you got to look at fuel injector concerns. And what I mean by that is if your fuel injector isn't functioning properly, not putting out enough spray pattern, not having enough flow, maybe there's a short. So this is another big one that comes up that could cause a lean issue, is air getting into your exhaust. Now the only O2 sensors that matter are sensor 1, bank 2. The first O2 sensor is the one that measures and compensates for the air-fuel ratio. So if your bunghole where the O2 sensor is has a leak and unmetered air is getting in there, it's going to cause the engine to run lean. It's going to compensate and thinks, well, your engine's actually running fine, but the O2 sensor is going to think that it's running lean and start dumping more fuel in. Another reason could cause it, I don't think it's so much common on the vehicles today, at least I haven't seen one, is that in the early days, some of the motors used to have an air pump in them that pump air into the exhaust. Well, if that had leaks, that would cause or trick the computer into thinking that it's running lean and give you that your code. So there's a bunch of things for you to start checking. If you get that code, one of the things to do is look at the freeze frame data. Freeze frame data will give you the clue you need on where to start tracking down. Now, depending on the scanner you got, everybody's that has a high-end scanner, even a cheap one, always gives you different types of variables in the freeze frame data. That is what you need to try to troubleshoot the issue. As I just went through in this video, there is a whole bunch of variables, that could go wrong to cause this code. And I get so many messages from so many people getting the parts cannon out, and they're firing parts at their vehicle, hoping to solve the issue. The parts cannon doesn't always work. Sometimes you get lucky, but most of the times, you know, keep on adding the parts on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. I'll see you in the next one.